Hey guys, this is Anthony Fantano from Joey's World Tour Reviews. Just kidding, it's Odie from Miguel and Odie Reviews. And it's finally happened. But before we talk about what's finally happened, a little bit of a announcement. Miguel has not recently been in any videos or helping with the videos because Miguel himself is busy between schoolwork and work, and I'm busy with schoolwork and work time studies kind of stuff, you know? So we're both very busy guys. We're both college students. We don't have a lot of time to ourselves. We got to dedicate time to schoolwork. We dedicate as little time as we can to this. It's just a hobby of ours. We can't put a video out every week like we'd like to. We'd really love to, but we simply can't. So please be patient with us, those that do watch us, and we thank you for being there. So, what's finally happened? 2017 and 2018 have been weird years for music. You got old artists that have been established with what sound they do, what kind of music they are, trying something new. You've had some of the newer artists that have only been around a few years, bumping out the same old, same old. You just got a weird collection of music that's been coming out these past few years. But what I'm specifically talking about today is, just today, a new album has dropped. It's Andrew W.K's You're Not Alone. And for those of you who don't know who Andrew W.K is, I'm going to give you a bit of backstory on the guy. Alright, so the album was announced in late 2017. It's not, kind of not been around for a while. Andrew W.K hasn't. It's been about 8 years since his last release. He's been touring around and stuff, for promotion of the album, but aside from that, he hasn't been overly active in the music industry. The most he's done in the past years is he was featured in, just a couple of songs, one of the notable ones being Necrogoblicon's, let's just call it track 8 from their album Heavy Meta, because I want to keep it PG-13. You can go check the track out yourself. It'll say featuring Andrew W.K, of course. He's also been in several television shows, comic strips and stuff. He's commonly featured in Cyanide and Happiness. He's been in an Uncle Grandpa episode. He was in a Fallout 4 DLC as Red Eye. He's been in a Lil Bub special on Animal Planet. He's also recently been honored by the American Association of Suicidology. They honored him for, as quoted, life-affirming music and work. So that you got a little bit of backstory on the guy. Let's get into the album. The album has 16 tracks, 3 of which are motivational speeches. They are, as listed, The Feeling of Being Alive, In Your Darkest Moments, and Confusion and Clarity. The other 13 are songs, 2 of which are instrumental tracks. I'm not going to talk about all the songs, obviously, because I don't want to potentially spoil the album for anyone. I'm just going to talk about maybe 5 of them. And the first one on the list, I did write down notes, is Power of Partying. It's the opening track to the album. It's an instrumental track. It's a short one. It's about 1.5 minutes long. And the way to describe this one is it's dramatic. It's a powerful startup for the album to give you expectations of what the album is going to be. It's musically layered. It's complicated in a way because Andrew W.K, being a multi-instrumentalist that he is, he wants to put as much in as he can in a way that's musically complex but appeasing to the listener, right? It's short, sweet, to the point. It gets you right into the next track, which is the next one I'm talking about, Music is Worth Living For. It's the main single from the album. It's what promoted the album back in December and November before it came out just this month. It's exactly what it sounds like, music's worth living for. This is part of Andrew W.K's message through his life. He's done his best as he can to be a wholesome guy who cares for people, as I mentioned before, and this is one of his uplifting tracks on the album. Not every single one is going to be perfectly uplifting, but this is one of the ones to talk about if you're talking about tracks that have motivated you to get through the day or motivated you to wake up. The next one that's, in my opinion, probably one of the better ones about this message, it's called Give Up On You. It's a power chorus, a power ballad, I guess you could say, promoting the power of strong friendship and unity among the human race. It's got a compact song structure that most people can immediately recognize. He uses his words, his voice, and his music to get the message out in songs such as Give Up On You. He wants you to know that you're not alone, right? There's more people just like you out there. There's people you can reach out to, people you can talk to. The next song I want to talk about is Beyond Oblivion. It's an instrumental track as well. It's the longer of the 2. And in my opinion, it's one of the more musically interesting ones. It starts out slow, it's droning, you can feel the dramaticism in it, there's a slight ominous feeling to it. Later on it starts to pick up with a loud percussive, just entrance, right? You can kind of, in this song specifically, feel emotion pouring out from Andrew W.K. and his composition, his writing, his performance. It's not just your usual instrumental track that sounds musically complex and everyone's like, oh, listen to me, I can play tedious music. This one's deliberate, it's dramatic, it's tedious, but it's soulful in its own rights. And the last track I plan to talk about is called You're Not Alone. Okay? It's the title track of the album. The quote I will give from it is, your time is not over. And then later on in the song, you're not alone. It gives out a powerful message, it gives out an uplifting message, it's an empowering song. Just like most of his albums. He's not just party orientated, he's people orientated with his music. He actually cares about people. He actually wants you to feel what he's feeling. He wants you to know that in this world, it's not just you battling yourself out. And I think I've vamped that already, but that's okay, because that's part of the message he's trying to give. He's not just wasting his time and his breath just working for the money. He's trying to help people. He's at television shows about this. He's talked to people on social media. He's reached out to people. He's helped people out. We should get to the pros and the cons of the album. Unfortunately, there are pros as well as cons because everything has to be somewhat objectified. So for the pros of this album, it's a very wholesome album. It's an empowering album. He's written it for people to feel like they're needed in life, right? It's written by a man who truly cares. He truly wants to help. He truly believes in the other man. He wants the next man. He doesn't just turn the other cheek, right? He wants to help him out. It has uplifting song structure that, when need be, when it's spicy, when it's blissful, it can be dramatic and emotional. It can be tasteful. It can be soulful. It's not just a straightforward rock. Andrew W.K. has a big thing about being somewhat of a throwback to like rock ballad, rock opera type music and glam music from like the 80s and 90s, but you know, with his own actual taste of it, because he's actually a damn good musician in my opinion. He has powerful lyrics. They're from the heart. They're supportive lyrics. Andrew W.K. is the kind of guy you can just reach out to if you need help. And if you're too anxious to just talk to him, you can just listen to his music and that would be enough. There are unfortunately about a few cons. The songs are heavily structuralized. You get the verse, chorus, solo type pattern kind of stuff that a lot of rock and pop music in this day and age has, which I'm not going to, denote from. A lot of music in this day and age follows that pattern. It's just expected of people. If you want to make it in the industry, you got to follow that pattern. It's like an algorithm. If you don't do it, you're not going to get anywhere. And honestly, it's just the way music kind of has to be in this day and age. And I'm not going to get mad at someone for doing it. It's just, with a musician as great as him, he could occasionally shy away from it, which he does on a few tracks. He's a very consistent individual with his music, which can be a good thing or a bad thing, because consistency is what defines an artist as who they are. But when you listen to an Andrew W.K. song, you don't think, that's Motley Crue, that's Poison. You think, that is Andrew W.K. You think, this is what he sounds like, this is his definitive sound. And that's what's great about it, right? But in some cases, it can sound too much like other of his own music, which is fine. Not every artist is going to have the perfect variant from song to song. It's not an extreme case of like Five Finger Death Punch where every song just sounds like the same thing over and over again. But in some cases you can't differentiate some of the songs. And the last real con is that he doesn't give enough promotion for his music. He does tour, he does advertise it, but there's just not like any hardcore promotion on any notable websites or podcasts or anything just talking about it, right? It does have somewhat of a downfall in the music, but I think personally the album's going to sell great if people just keep talking about it, and he keeps talking about it and promoting it in his own way. So overall, if I were to rank the album, I'd say it's a 7.5 out of 10. It does have its flaws, but it's a very wholesome and uplifting album. It's good music. It's music anyone can vibe to anytime they need. It's a good music to listen to when you're sad, and it just lifts you up, like most of his other releases. And I just recommend, if you listen to an album this year, I know that there's not a whole lot of albums released yet in 2018, but I recommend this one above all others currently in this year.
In your darkest moments, never forget that you can and will make it through. Never forget the hard times that you already have made it through. And understand that in the future there will be more challenges, but also more rewards. And all of this counts as life. It's all part of true joy. Everything counts.